A perfect fit! Mind if I borrow this?
Oh, now you got my weapon! Why can't we stop that blue dweeb?
Maybe you should plant some more brain chips into your robots, Dr. Wily.
Greetings everyone, old and new, welcome to Haseo Reviews!
Super fighting robot,
Mega Man! How could I possibly give a proper introduction to a franchise with such a legacy behind it? Beginning in 1988 on the NES, Capcom gifted the world with a tough but fair 2D platformer where a little blue robot boy battles 8 robot masters to defeat—
That's Mega Man 2.
Scusi?
That's Mega Man 2 you're thinking of. And you call yourself an expert.
Hold on, let me Google that.
A few moments later.
Well, damn, looks like you're right. Okay, let's try this again. Debuting in December of 1987, Mega Man was Capcom's first major attempt to branch out of the arcade scene and onto the home console market. Developed by a small team of 6 and created by Akira Kitamura, with character designs by Keiji Inafune, Mega Man drew inspiration from multiple sources, including the groundbreaking anime and manga series Astro Boy, American superhero comics, Santa Claus and Albert Einstein for the characters of Dr. Light and Dr. Wily, and the classic game of Rock, Paper, Scissors. After sorting through numerous potential names for the title character, including but not limited to Mighty Kid and Rainbow Man, the team settled on Rockman for both the protagonist and the game itself when the decision was made to use a music motif for several of its characters. When the game was brought over to the West, Capcom USA Senior Vice President Joseph Morisi, believing that Rockman was a terrible name for a video game, changed it to Mega Man, the name it kept for 33 years and counting. Now, why on earth did I get confused and start talking about Mega Man 2 at the start? Well, the original Mega Man doesn't come up as a major topic when discussing the Mega Man series, other than the obvious fact that it was the starting point. More often than not, Mega Man fans and old-school Nintendo fans seem to have more nostalgia for Mega Man 2 onward, leaving the original as just a footnote in the series' history. Well, I'm going to take a look at the original Mega Man today via the Mega Man Legacy Collection, which is currently the best way to play all 10 of the so-called classic series to date, to see if its status as the one we don't talk about is justified or not. Also, yes, the North American box art is atrocious. Let's move on. Hey, Hotspot, you're a robot, right? Why don't you join me in this review so I can get your perspective on the
No.
Oh, come on, you're barely in these videos as is.
I refuse to be paraded around as a prop, you robophobic meatbag.
That could have gone better. Anyway, story time! The story of Mega Man is pretty simple, as was the standard of the time, so I'll keep this section brief. Dr. Light is a world-renowned scientist and expert on robotics, who not only created 6 robot masters, Cutman, Gutsman, Fireman, Iceman, Electman, and Bombman, to help perform manual labor such as trash disposal and demolition, but also 2 lab assistants, Rock and Roll. One day, Dr. Light's disgruntled, jealous former colleague, Dr. Wily, kidnaps Dr. Light's robots and reprograms them to help him take over the world. Rock, who was left behind due to Wily not seeing any potential use for him, volunteers himself to be converted into a combat robot to stop Dr. Wily's schemes, becoming Mega Man. None of this is told to the player in-game, however. It's all in the manual. As soon as you boot up Mega Man, you're greeted with a silent title screen, which leads into the first defining characteristic of the Mega Man series, the stage select screen. Rather than having the player travel through a linear series of levels, Mega Man offers all 6 of its main stages in a menu for the player to choose from, with each stage having a boss waiting for them at the end. I started with Bomb Man stage first, and I must say, the graphics for the time are pretty impressive considering how limited the NES's hardware was. The colors are bright and vibrant, and while each level uses more or less the same pieces to construct them, they're designed differently from stage to stage, which, along with every level having a unique background, leads to each stage feeling unique. For example, Bomb Man's stage has an industrial aesthetic to it, while Electman's has more of a circuitry theme. While I wouldn't call the music in Mega Man 1 fantastic, it does the job well enough, with each level having its own theme song that plays throughout the stage, only changing when you reach the boss at the end. I would have liked more variation in tempos and keys, but the soundtrack presented here at least isn't very dull. Mega Man is a 2D side-scroller. Your movement is limited to going left, right, climbing up or down ladders, and jumping. Mega Man is equipped with an arm cannon that can fire up to 3 projectiles at a time due to the original console's limitations. Thankfully, your shots are fast, so you won't have to worry about being left defenseless because you were too trigger-happy. However, while smaller enemies tend to die in just one hit, many larger enemies are massive bullet sponges and feel tedious to fight. Especially these big eye enemies you often find near the end of a level, which also deal way too much damage on contact. Seriously, that's like a third of my health gone in one hit! There are 4 types of collectibles that Mega Man can find in each stage. First are these yellow capsules that restore part of his health, blue capsules that restore energy for his special weapons, red balls that increase your score, which, in a game where your score nets you absolutely jack shit and means nothing, are absolutely useless, but are for some reason the most common thing enemies drop on death, and Mega Man's face, which grants him an extra life. Like I just mentioned 21 words ago, enemies drop those useless score pickups more often than they drop health, ammo, or extra lives, which is one of the flaws that I believe adds to the original Mega Man's biggest hurdle, its artificial difficulty. Yeah, let's get this out of the way now. Mega Man is hard, but it isn't a fun kind of hard. Jumps often require insane precision, getting hit knocks you back, and in situations like the end of Iceman stage, that can mean instant death if you get knocked into a bottomless pit, which is oh so much fun when the platform you need to jump on is shooting at you. Mega Man slides like he's on ice in every level, except the ice level, where he instead has trouble moving in the first place. Come on, move, Mega Man! Mega Man drops like a lead weight if he walks off a platform, or, as in these obnoxious disappearing block sections, the platform disappears from under him. These spikes you can occasionally find can kill you in one hit even if you've got flickering post-hit invincibility frames. Checkpoints are laughably scarce, enemies hit like a truck, and it all adds up to me abusing the rewind feature added to the Legacy Collection because I simply can't imagine beating this game legit without ripping my hair out! At the end of each level is a boss fight with one of the 6 Robot Masters. They each have extremely simple attack patterns, except for Fireman, whose programming was bugged, which leads to him being so aggressive that it's borderline impossible to beat him without taking damage. And defeating them rewards you with that boss's unique weapon. Using Bomb Man as an example again, when I defeat him, I'm given the Hyper Bomb weapon, which I can switch to from the pause menu. Special weapons each have limited ammo, but pack more of a punch than Mega Man's default arm cannon, especially the Elect Beam, which quickly became my favorite weapon in the game. Poor Guts Man, though. For having such a tough stage and cool design, he has the most situational weapon in the game due to it requiring the stage to have special blocks in it that his weapon, the Super Arm, can pick up. Each boss is weak to a specific weapon, bringing in the rock, paper, scissors inspiration I mentioned earlier. For example, I can use Cutman's weapon to take down the normally tough Elect Man in just 3 hits, encouraging the player to use their brain to figure out what the boss's weakness could be. Each one makes sense too, like using bombs on a rock-themed robot, or using a cold weapon to counteract the heat of a fire. I genuinely love this mechanic, and it became a mainstay of the rest of the franchise. After defeating all 6 Robot Masters, Dr. Wily's Fortress opens, which is a 4-stage gauntlet, each stage ending with a new boss, some stages having rematches with the Robot Masters peppered throughout, and each stage testing you not only on your platforming skills, but your mastery of each special weapon. I should also point out another major design oversight here, where this section of Wily Stage 1 is literally impossible to pass if you didn't go out of your way to pick up the seemingly optional Magnet Beam weapon in Elect Man's stage, which, on its own, requires you to have Gutsman's weapon to even pick it up. If you got this far but understandably didn't get the Magnet Beam because it was placed out of the way and didn't seem important, you have to waste all your lives, go back to the stage select, and replay Elect Man's level again. The first stage ends with Jesus Christ! Okay, let's try that again. The first stage ends with the Yellow Devil, a giant blob monster that can only be damaged by shooting its eye, which appears in random positions on its body. I beat it in a couple of seconds thanks to this glitch where pausing and unpausing the game with the select button over and over while firing the Elect Beam makes it hit multiple times. I told you this weapon was my favorite for a reason. The next level has a rematch with Cutman and Electman, followed by a fight against an evil copy of Mega Man who reacts to what weapon you have equipped, as well as every move you make. I beat him in a few seconds thanks to Elect Beam again. The third stage is a linear tunnel, with a section where a flow of water pushes you into the boss's arena. This bubble robot that's weak to the super arm blocks in its arena, but make sure you save those for the final few hits, because they're the only way you can jump over its oversized hitbox, and the blocks don't respawn when you die. Finally, we have Wily Stage 4, which is decked out like a castle throne room. Shortly into the level, you have an opportunity to grab the Yashichi, an Easter egg item that Capcom hid in several games of that era. It refills your life meter and all of your weapon energy to maximum, and this is the only time in the series that it appears. After a rematch with the remaining Robot Masters, we finally reach the Mad Doctor himself, piloting this floating mech, the Wily Machine 1. I beat it in a few seconds thanks to the Firestorm. But the fight isn't over yet! Wily sheds the top of the mech and Phase 2 begins! I beat it in a few seconds thanks to the Elect Beam yet again, and Wily bows his head in defeat, begging for mercy. Mega Man then leaves him there by himself, presumably saying,
No! None of that! Shame on you!
And runs back home as the credits roll, removing his armor along the way, which shows us that, Jesus Christ, they really weren't hiding their Astro Boy inspiration back then. So, how's the first Mega Man hold up? Well, as much as I hate to say it, Mega Man 1 is a classic case of what I like to call first game syndrome. The pieces for an excellent game are all there, but they haven't been put together properly because the developers didn't have a solid idea of how to make the game they wanted. Despite the game boasting a solid foundation for sequels to build upon, coupled with impressive graphics and passable music, the poor level design, overly tough enemies, wonky physics, and general lack of polish make this a game I can't wholeheartedly recommend to newcomers. Check it out on the Legacy Collection thanks to its save and rewind features that make the experience more tolerable, but otherwise, I think you could easily start with any of the later Mega Man games if you're looking to get into the series, as they improve on the original in so many ways that they effectively make it obsolete. I hate to end on such a downer note, but I have to do my job as a reviewer and be honest about my experience with each game I play, no matter how much of a fan I am of whatever series it's a part of. Hopefully the next game I play will be more enjoyable so I don't have to be quite so negative. I'm Haseo, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey there, thanks for staying till the end of my video. If you like what you saw here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to keep up to date with Haseo Reviews, leave a comment to let me know your thoughts, check out my Patreon for neat rewards for as low as $1 a month, and follow my Twitter @Haseo Reviews to keep in touch. I'll be seeing you in the near future. Peace.